Let's take a look at Canon's two 85mm lenses. This focal length are primarily used for portrait lenses, but they have many other uses. On paper at least, they look very similar, both 85mm primes with very wide apertures. But in use, they are actually very different lenses indeed. Let's start with the baby, the 85mm 1.8. It's been around for around 20 years, but it's still a great lens. What I love about this lens is how fast it focuses and how sharp it is wide open. It's also a relatively inexpensive lens at under $400 and a lightweight lens. On top of all this, it does just about everything its big brother does. However, it is one stop slower. And what that means is that wide open, it's still letting in around half the light that the 1.2 does. And it's not quite as cool looking. It doesn't have the L series red ring and doesn't have quite as much glass, but still a great lens. On camera, it's well proportioned. The big bit of glass at the front looks great. I like it from the top as well. It's an overall nice lens, and particularly nice on the smaller bodies as well. But best of all, it's nice and light, easy to use. Onto the big lens, the big brother, the 85 1.2. This was recently updated in 2006, which is why it's called the 2. It has the fastest aperture in the Canon range, also shared with the 50mm 1.2. It has very high contrast for this type of lens, razor sharp depth of field, and it is considered the wedding lens to have. On top of that, I think it looks awesome. All that glass, both front and back. It does have some downsides, however. It focuses like a centipede swimming in molasses. It's really expensive at over $2,000. The depth of field can also be a downside, but it's very, very hard to get accurate shots with this, and it weighs a ton. Looking at it on the camera, I think it's a great looking lens on any camera. All that glass and just the shape of it. It really shows off any camera. It really looks like an impressive lens to me. Particularly from the top. I love how the waist angles out to be a big fat lens. If you look at the focus now, this is what I'm talking about. It takes forever to focus, and it's not an accurate focuser. Let's take a look at a couple of the differences between the lenses. First off, despite both being 85mm, the 1.2 is actually slightly wider than the 1.8. Next, depth of field. If you have a look at this idiot with his popsicle, you see that my face is completely in focus and the background is nicely blurred. This is what we want from a good portrait lens. Now look at the 1.2. The problem with this photo is that the tip of my nose is perfectly in focus, but my face is slightly out of focus. And this is a common problem with this lens. The keep rate is not high unless you're particularly good with this lens, because you can never tell, even with a DSLR, that you've got the right focus and the right depth of focus. However, if you get it right, the results can be spectacular. You can really make someone pop or something pop with this lens. The next strength of the 1.2 is in wedding photography. I'm sure my sister wouldn't be too happy if she knew I was using this particular photo, but I love this photo. And the real strength is not just in the depth of field, but also in the contrast ratio that this lens is capable of. Few lenses can really differentiate between a person that's dressed in a light colour and a person dressed in a dark colour, but this lens excels at it. This is why this lens is considered the ultimate wedding lens. Another strength of the 1.2 is low light. It collects twice the light of the 1.8 or 4 times the light of a 2.8. So if you're in an area where you can't use a flash or you just prefer not to use a flash, you can get that photo that no one else can get with this lens. This photo was taken simply with one candle light. One small birthday candle light took this photo. No other light was in the room. You can really get incredible low light shots with this lens. Back to the 85 1.8. Its real strength is its fast focus. I took this photo earlier in the week of these birds, and frankly if I'd had the 1.2 on the camera, the birds would already be in Florida by the time it had focused. So this is its real strength, and really it can do most of the things of the 1.2 as well. However, fast focusing is where it really shines, as well as its lightweight and its affordability. At the end of the day, however, if I have to pick just one of these two lenses to take with me in my carry bag because I have no room for the other, or don't want to take the weight with me, it's going to be the 1.8 that I take more often, 9 out of 10 times, because I just get more keeper shots with it and it's an easier lens to use. Thanks for watching.